Hello, 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 and welcome to the Babe Bulletin podcast, where we talk self-love, empowerment, boudoir, and anything else that makes us feel like a total babe. I am Alicia. I'm a boudoir photographer and a body liberation expert, and I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a very personal episode today. Normally, I like to share a lot of education and things that I hope will benefit you. And today, I wanted to share some things about me and kind of my history with diet culture, because I have something launching today that I hope will help you, called the Anti-Diet Starter Kit. And I felt like you all should know where I'm coming from in terms of diet culture and my relationship with it, and why creating a course like this was so important to me. I know that my story is certainly not unique, and if you're listening to this, you probably grew up entrenched in diet culture as well. So maybe some of the things that I went through will resonate with you. And you'll be like, yeah, been there, done that. It sucks, doesn't it? I think we can create a little bit of empathy and community right now. So yeah, we're just going to jump right in. Now, normally they have an outline in a very structured format that I like to do, but I just kind of want to share off of my dome, things that I went through and kind of my history again with diet culture, so that you get why the Anti-Diet Starter Kit is so important to me. So I was born in the 90s, back when heroin chic was really in. I didn't really start thinking about my body though until the aughts. And if you grew up in the 90s, you probably felt that thin, almost skeletal desire a lot more than I did, but thinness was still the ideal in the 2000s. I would go to my grandma's house, and she always had these magazines out on her table called Woman's World. And if you don't know what Woman's World is, it's like a fashion, health, wellness magazine for women over 50. Every single cover that I can recall had some kind of diet or weight loss title in huge letters right on the front. And I would want to look through them for I don't know, recipes and stuff like that. I was little and it's what was available to go through at her house. But those covers, they stick with you. I mean, I still remember looking at these magazines, and I even thought, let me go and look at their most recent covers. Let me just Google them and see if they've gotten any better. They have not. A few I saw were Young Forever Diet, lose 8 pounds a week. #1 weight loss secret for weight loss in 2024. And Water Cure for over 50 fat. So this magazine is still very much promoting weight loss and is very fat phobic. But that's what I grew up reading, at least at my grandma's house. And the women in my life, were focused on losing weight. In terms of things that I read for myself, I was reading Nylon magazine as a teenager, which was more fashion. And of course, every single fashion model was very, very thin. That was the ideal. And then I also read a lot of Cosmo. Oh man, looking back at Cosmo magazine, the misogyny and the fat phobia, wow, was that real? It was rampant. On top of that, I'm watching shows like America's Next Top Model. I was watching The Biggest Loser. I was watching The Swan. Does anybody remember The Swan? It was a show on Fox, reality TV. It lasted 2 seasons, thank God. But in each episode, the series would follow 2 self-proclaimed ugly ducklings who, over the course of a 3-month period, experienced an extreme makeover from there was a therapist, there was a dentist, there were a lot of cosmetic surgeries, and they would do this. Oh, they had a personal trainer, surgeons, people to quote unquote make them look better. And God, at the end of the episode, whichever woman was deemed more attractive would then go on to compete in a beauty pageant. Reading the premise, Like, this is insane that this was a TV show, but it really wasn't at the time. You had Biggest Loser, which was all about changing, disgusting, ugly, fat people into thin people. The show did not care if the weight remained off, which for most of the contestants it did not. And then, America's Next Top Model. Oh, you had Tyra Banks and those judges saying just the most derogatory things to some of these women, commenting on their bodies, letting them know they had to lose weight. And these were thin women. I mean, I remember when the first quote unquote plus size model was on that show. And you're like, what are you talking about? Plus size? Where? Where is the plus size model? The fashion industry was nuts, and I loved fashion as a teen. So I was very much entrenched in this world and being fed the lie that I needed to be a certain size in order to have value to the world. And again, I think that's something that a lot of people listening to this probably relate to. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen the shows. You watched, the press absolutely humiliate Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson and other female celebrities commenting on their bodies and what they look like. I mean, do you guys remember when Jessica Simpson was shamed for being fat? And you look at those photos of her and you're like, this is just a regular woman. This is just a very normal, regular woman. But she got crucified by the press for putting on a little bit of weight. That stuff sticks with you. Obviously, here I am at, 33. I still remember all of this. It is deeply entrenched into my brain. It has wormed its way in there. And all of this stuff is not only affecting me, like I said, it's affecting the other women in my life too. Like my mom, she didn't really have the healthiest of body images when I was growing up. She was dieting. I remember she did Weight Watchers, and I remember that she did lose a lot of weight, and she would measure all of her food. She would weigh all of her food. She had a book where she kept track of everything she ate. And I know she loved getting complimented by people when they were like, wow, you look great. You lost a lot of weight. And I don't blame her for that, because she was seeing and watching all of the same stuff that I was. The pressure I felt at 13, she was feeling at, I don't know, 30s and in her 40s as well. Like I'm not going to fault her for that, because she was as deep in it as I was. But this is what I grew up watching. And so I did view this as the norm. As a preteen, I remember I would lay in my bed, and if my stomach would sink flat, I would think, okay, I'm still good. Like if I stand up and my tummy comes out a little bit, that's okay, because at least when I lay down, it's all flat. And as long as everything stays flat, then I'm good. And I can't remember the exact day, but I do remember how much shame and embarrassment and frustration I felt when I laid it down for the first time and my stomach didn't go flat, because there was extra fat in it. It was no longer going to lay flat. And this humiliated me. I was devastated. As a teenager, I would fantasize about cutting my own stomach off. Like if I could just cut it off, then this wouldn't be a problem. Other people could go and have surgeries and get it cut off. I would picture more violent ways of cutting it off than that. And that, thinking back now, it's so messed up that I would imagine and crave self-harm as a way of just fitting in and being thinner. And then of course too, I look back at photos of myself from that time and I'm like, what am I doing? Why did I hate myself so much? I wasn't even fat. But my body image was so warped and just destroyed by diet culture that you could not tell me that. I would not believe you at all. I mean, in that negative self-image that stayed with me throughout all of high school and throughout all of college, and didn't really start getting better until, honestly, I started the studio. I have lost track of how many times I have dieted. Who knows? The last time I remember really being like extremely invested in dieting would have been 2016, because there was a weight loss competition at my job that I was at, and I was also getting married. So I thought, win-win. I'm going to lose weight for this competition, and I'm also going to lose weight for my wedding, which I felt like was something that I needed to do. I'm a woman, I'm getting married, I need to be thinner. And I did. Like, I won that weight loss competition, and I ended up getting 2 tickets, which we used for our honeymoon. So I guess that was nice. Oh, I don't know. I feel so conflicted about it now, because I would it's kind of fucked up to have a weight loss competition at your job, especially because the one that I was at was being disguised as health. This is all about getting healthy. But guess what? We didn't do any blood work. There was no conversation about how the weight was being lost. None of that stuff mattered. The only thing that mattered was that the number on the scale went down every week when I stepped on it in front of my boss. And that's so weird thinking back to that, but it was so normal at the same time back then. And it just kind of blows my mind that I so willingly participated in that. It's almost humiliating if I really think about it. Like, I got weighed by my boss every week for like 3 months. That's such a weird thing. And again, it wasn't actually about getting healthy, because they didn't ask us how we were doing it. If we were eating nutrient-dense food, they didn't check blood pressure or cholesterol or anything like that. It was strictly about the number on the scale. And that was really the last time that I very much dieted, because then the wedding was over. And then in 2017, I opened up my boudoir studio, and I started to focus on body liberation with my boudoir studio. And the more I learned about body liberation, the more I realized, oh, I'm like, this is messed up. The relationship that I have with my body and with food is really, really messed up. I consider myself lucky that I did not develop an eating disorder, although, again, this sucks to say, but I remember thinking that I was weak-willed because I didn't have one. I thought, God, if I could just be like the girls who are strong enough to not eat, or if I could just throw up after every meal. Other people do it, and I could do it. But I couldn't. I couldn't like will myself to do that, because thankfully my body was smart enough to know, no, we need these calories. Like, you need to eat. Yeah, but I remember being in high school and thinking, well, other people can do it. Why can't I just do it too? Well, it's a freaking eating disorder and it's a mental illness. So thank God my body knew better, and I didn't. I didn't do that. So I never developed an eating disorder, but I certainly would consider what I did disordered eating. And I think that's what a lot of us can relate to, that we don't have a healthy relationship with food. And I'm frustrated that we seem to be going back to that. I still have days, I still have weeks where I do feel the need to lose weight, because diet culture is everywhere and it is so hard to get out of, and the pressure is always there. And now with the rise of medical weight loss, it feels like thinness as a priority is almost as prevalent, if not more so than it was in the 2000s. So it feels like deja vu to me, where I'm like, oh my God, like it's the same message, but different font, basically. I am reliving how I felt when I was 14. And I'm very grateful that I'm in such a better place now with my body and with food and with exercise, that I'm not falling into the trap of diet culture as much. But again, I still have those days, and that's why I'm never going to hate anybody. I would never hate or shame anybody for dieting, because we have all been there. We all know the pressure. We all know what that feels like. But I do hate diet culture. I do think there's a huge problem with diet culture, and I think it really harms us more than helps us. I do long for the days when body positivity was still a trend. That, was a nice 2-year, 3-year period. But it shouldn't be a trend. It is good to feel good in your body. And we can do that without the qualification that if weight loss doesn't come with it, we're doing something wrong. So that's really my backstory behind why diet culture has always played a role, rather fighting against diet culture has played a role in my boudoir studio. You know, I'm a photographer. Why am I talking about food? Why am I talking about dieting? Well, because the two go hand in hand. One of the reasons why we have such negative body image is because there's a multi-billion-dollar industry telling us you're not good enough unless you lose weight. Because there's a multi-billion-dollar weight loss industry that is telling you you don't have value, you're not good enough unless you lose weight. So the two things are tied together. I can't give my clients a self-love experience and then send them out into the world, which is going to negate everything we just did inside of the studio, unless I am trying to teach them and give them tools to fight against that out there, because I can't be with them anymore. I can't cheer them on because I'm not right next to them. So I want people to have the tools and the resources so that they can heal that relationship with food and with exercise and with their body, so that they don't have to feel the way I felt when I was 15, 16, 20, 25. I mean, God, the amount of times that I cried over my body. Ugh, who even knows? If I had $1 for every time, I could probably go on a really, really nice vacation. It's unfortunate, and I know that my story is not unique. We've all dealt with it. We've all gone through it, and it just shouldn't be that way. And I want more for you, and I want more for your kids, and I want more for the people in your life. And that's why I've spent the last 6 weeks creating something called the Anti-Diet Starter Kit, because I want people to heal their relationship with food and their body, like one step at a time. So if you are exhausted like I was from decades of dieting and these food rules and all of this body shame, like, you're definitely not alone. You're certainly not broken. This is unfortunately the norm that our society has created. You're living in a culture where you've been taught that your body is a problem and that you have to be fixed. And no, that's just not true. It's just not true. The Anti-Diet Starter Kit, it's this course that I designed. It's a mini course. It's very gentle, no fluff. I want you to, well, break up with diet culture basically and finally feel at home in your body. So if you heard my story and you're like, yep, check, check, check. Hey, I went through very similar things. I read those magazines. I watched those shows. I felt the same way about food. I calorie counted, etc., etc. Then maybe this is for you. I mean, if you've tried every single diet and you feel like you're a failure, if you hate the way that you speak about your body and you're just not sure how to stop, if you feel guilty after eating, even when you're hungry, and you want freedom from food noise, and or maybe you're just curious about like what intuitive eating is, or what health at every size is, or what body neutrality is, and you have no idea how to start that journey, then I would encourage you to check out the Anti-Diet Starter Kit, because that course is full of all of that information, and the purpose is to help you heal. I want you to understand why diets fail. I want you to learn about how diet culture shows up in these really sneaky ways, like going to your grandma's house and seeing Woman's World magazine on the table and thinking, oh, if I don't lose 8 pounds this week, I'm somehow a failure. Things like that. We're going to let go of food guilt. We're going to start to trust our bodies more. And we're going to eat in a way that feels good and is not punishing. And I feel so grateful that I got into this career and have been doing all of this research and learning so that I can share it all with you. I mean, we're like, I'm 8 years into this now, and I have learned a lot in 8 years. And I'm just glad that I've been able to put it all together into something that's easy to, well, digest, no pun intended. And hopefully it helps you the way that 8 years of working on this has helped me. Not everybody is lucky enough to be a body liberation boudoir photographer. And I get that this is not the world that you are probably living in. So hopefully this kit helps you. And even if it's not for you, I still want you to know you're not alone. Diet culture is everywhere. It is all of the time. You can't escape it. but we can try to break away from it. And I hope you find a way to do so, even if it's something that you're already doing. I keep with it. I hope you find a way to get out of that culture on your own or with a friend or with a therapist so that you do not have to be constantly berating your body, because that doesn't get us anywhere. If you want to check out the Anti-Diet Starter Kit, I will leave a link to it in the description. It is, I'm doing like a launch sale on it, and that'll go until Saturday. So check that out. Otherwise, if you're looking for more free resources on diet culture and how to get out of it, you found the right podcast. You found the right boudoir photographer. I have blog posts about this that are all on my website. There are other podcast episodes where we talk about this. And I've got, who even knows how many Instagram captions about this topic as well. So there's plenty of information out there for you to grab. You just gotta look for it and find it. It's all over on my stuff. This is something that I really care a lot about. Before we get into the Babe of the Week, I do want to let you know that, if you're enjoying this podcast, if you could like it and subscribe, that would really help me out a ton. If you want to help me out even more, leaving a comment or a review, giving me a rating, so helpful. It really, really, really helps this podcast move up in the podcast charts. So I appreciate that very, very much. And if you want to learn more about what I do here at the studio, that is photography related and not necessarily diet culture related, I am located at, my studio, all the information about it is at buxandboudoir.com. That's where you can find the Anti-Diet Starter Kit as well. I'm Bucks and Boudoir on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Pinterest and pretty much everywhere. So you can find me all over the place. Okay, Babe of the Week. Someone whose art I have really, really been enjoying lately. Dun, 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 dun. I came across an Instagram account called Old Made Good. The artist, her name is Ashley Sheehan. She's been doing this since 2010. She has the coolest vintage antique type prints. She does like collaging. I don't know if it's digital art. I think it's probably digital art because she sells a lot of prints. But I know she does some original stuff too. Like, I'm assuming with actual paper and textiles and things. I don't know. I just have been scrolling through her Instagram feed a ton, and I went and looked at her website, and there's like 15 prints that I want to hang up in my house. I think they're beautiful. They're colorful. They're joyful. And she does like a lot of like multimedia stuff where she includes text with the collage elements. So think like colorful flowers, butterflies, vintage women, things like that. But then she'll add text over the top, like things that to say like no longer available for things that make me feel like shit, or nobody is cheering harder for me than the girl I used to be. And I just love them. I think they're so pretty. They're so creative. They're so beautiful. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these and they are straight up collages. So that's really cool. She does like collage art and then turns them into prints as well. They're beautiful. So go check out her Instagram, Old Made Good, and get some new art for your home that reminds you that you're a baddie and you have to be bummed about the way that you look or things like that. I really love it. Thank you so much for listening. Get out there, love a little bit harder on yourselves if you need to. Remember that your body is a good body. It doesn't need to change. It does not need to lose weight for you to love it or for you to respect it. And if you still feel the desire to lose weight, that's okay too. Very normal. You're not weird. You're not broken. It's a part of the culture that we're at. But stick with that affirmation that, okay, that your body is a good body. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk again soon.